First of all, I'd like to give you a little bit about my background because some of you may not know that. But firstly, my accent might give you a hint that I wasn't born in Australia. I come from the US. Back in the year 1972, Australia was very short of teachers. And when I finished my doctorate at the University of California, the careers office said, "Are you interested in going to Australia to help them out and train teachers?" I said, "Yes, I'll give it a go." 40 years later, I'm still here. But I'm now an Australian citizen as well as a US citizen. So I have the best of both worlds of dual citizenship. My talk tonight is the Gospel according to you. An unknown author wrote, "You are writing a gospel, a chapter each day by the deeds you do and by the words you say. People may read what you write, whether faithful or true. Just what is the gospel according to you?" The first step is to let your conversation become the gospel according to you. The word conversation in Greek has nothing to do with talk. It has something to do with walk. Let your conversation become the gospel of Christ. You've got to walk the walk, not talk the talk. There are 3 things Paul says in the scriptures that we need to do. 1, walk tall. 2, stand fast. 3, fear not. Point number 1, walk tall. The Apostle Paul in Ephesians 4 writes, "Walk worthy of the calling with whom you were called." It is not enough as people in the church to raise our hands in praise if we won't lend a hand in the work. It's not enough to speak in tongues if we don't speak to each other. The gospel is best when it is in. A policeman stopped to ask a woman standing helplessly by her vehicle and asked her what was the matter. When she told him she had a flat tire and had managed to change the wheel but couldn't lower the jack, he offered to do it for her. "Please, let the car down gently," she said. "My husband is asleep in the back seat." The first step in developing the gospel according to you is to walk tall and not sleep in the back seat. Point number 2, stand fast. The second step in developing the gospel according to you is to stand fast. In Philippians 1:27, Paul says, "With one mind and one spirit, strive together for the faith of the gospel." Standing fast means being committed to our Christianity. As Christians, we need to be committed to be consistent and to be loyal. Today, we see people who do not stay in their relationships very long, and some don't even stay with one church very long. They try a little of this and a little of that. They don't stay under one teaching, and so there is a confused Christianity. Standing fast means standing firm, but with character and respect for others. Character is what you have when no one is looking. Character is what you are when somebody takes your parking place. Character is what you are in the dark. As an example of character is in Dr. Martin Luther King. His speech, "I Have a Dream," was voted the greatest speech of the century. But Dr. King's power was not in his speech. It was in his life, which was committed to the cause of justice. Until the day he died, he lived with that cause. There is a gospel according to you, but you must stand fast and be committed. Point 3, Fear not. The third step in developing the gospel according to you is to fear not. In Philippians 1, verse 28, Paul writes, "In nothing be terrified by your adversaries." What wonderful words. Fear not. Mary was told by an angel, "Fear not." Those same words of courage were given to Moses and Joshua. When you fear not, you are in connection with Christ. We all have our little fears, but when fear takes over our lives, we have lost control. Faith is the ability to trust what we cannot see, and with faith we are freed from the flimsy enclosures of life that only fear entraps us. Tough times don't last, but tough people do. All of us will go through difficulties at times in our lives, but what is most important is how we handle those situations. In 1 Corinthians 15, verse 58, we read, "Be steadfast, immovable, always abounding in the work of God, knowing that your labor will not be in vain for God." Sometimes we will get weary, but the Bible says the enemy will not prevail if you belong to Jesus Christ. Suffering is part of life, but we need to walk tall, to stand fast, and fear not. In summary, the Apostle Paul said there are three things that we need to do in life. 1, walk tall. 2, stand fast. 3, fear not. Ephesians 4, verse 1 says, "Walk worthy of the calling with which you were called." In Philippians 1:27, Paul said, "With one mind and one spirit, strive together for the faith of the gospel." And in Philippians 1, verse 28, he writes, "In nothing be terrified by your adversaries." The Apostle Paul also said in Philippians 1:6, "God who began this good work in you will carry it out until it is finished." In closing, you are writing a gospel, a chapter each day, by the deeds you do and by the words you say. Others will see what your life portrays, whether faithful or true. Just what is the gospel according to you that you are creating?